other 3 professors from Thompson Rivers University. My name is Lauch Fraser. I'm a professor in Canada Research Chair, and I study grasslands and wetlands. And we've had an opportunity for me, the last 2 days, and for my colleagues, Wendy and John, for 4 days, to visit some very interesting grazing management up in the Chilcotins, and we've had a real learning experience. And we also take away from this some interesting opportunities, because as researchers we try to understand grazing systems, but we coming out and actually seeing how things are happening on the ground really helps us to appreciate some of the challenges that the ranching community faces. And we saw good examples of areas that have been grazed very effectively, and some areas that haven't, and some areas that haven't been grazed at all, an exclosure. And it's interesting to see some of these areas and try to determine, range health. That's a very current and popular term in range science. And when you look out over a rangeland, you get a certain view of the health of that rangeland. But what you don't see is what's happening below ground. And some could argue that below ground processes, the soil, is even more important for range health than what you see above ground. And we see opportunities for improving range health through grazing management to actually improve soil building processes, and which is a very interesting concept. You can take an area that hasn't been grazed, compare it to an area that's been moderately grazed, and the potential for soil building processes is greater in areas that have been grazed. And we want to take that information and use it to add value to what ranchers have been doing for over a century in our province and in our country. And this is why a group of us is working towards developing carbon offsets as a market. And so that's my main interest, but I'll let you hear more about what John and Wendy are also interested in.
So I'm Wendy Gardner. I'm also at Thompson Rivers University, and I am in the Natural Resource Science Department. And there I mainly work with grassland ecology and range management. And having this opportunity to come out and be on the ground with producers and listen to their discussions and hear their questions has been really helpful for me to kind of become more in touch with what the questions that they have are at a more operational level. As well, I work a lot with grazing, and this whole grazing intensive management, which is what we've been talking about over the last 4 days, is quite a paradigm shift in the range management community, away from some of our more traditional ways of grazing, especially within the British Columbia rangelands. So I think it's been great to be out in the field with producers and really hear the experiences they're having. A lot of the challenges, it's something that's relatively new to a lot of people here, and people are taking their first steps forward, and we were able to go out and look at people's operations on the ground and learn a lot from what they've been successful at, but also they were willing to share their mistakes and some of the obstacles that they've been facing, and that's helped us to better understand kind of some of the challenges with this as we move forward, and what some good research questions might be, or things to look at as we move forward from an educational perspective. So as an instructor, it's a great opportunity to really learn what's happening on the ground and be able to go back and share this in the classroom with our next generation of land managers that are coming through the system. And so I'm really excited to be able to be involved with something that's really a big paradigm shift, that we're going to move to looking at grazing in a very different way than's happened on this landscape here. And I think there's some great opportunities with it. I'll pass it to John.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Church, and I'm the chair in Cattle Industry Sustainability at Thompson Rivers University in the same Natural Resource Sciences Department as Lauch and Wendy. It's just been a tremendous 4 days here in the Caribou Chilcotin. And to me, what is so wonderful is, as the chair in cattle industry sustainability, these 4 days have really embraced that concept. And I'm seeing the linkages between the healthy environment, healthy soil, but also healthy beef. And there's a huge link between the grass, the biodiverse pastures that the cattle eat, and the healthy grass-fed beef product that these ranchers, these innovative people are trying to produce here in the Caribou. So, like I said, healthy environment and but also healthy beef. That's also really important. But I think the final piece of the puzzle, what we're talking about, is building resilience into the system and keeping working ranchers on the grasslands is so important to maintaining the sustainability of the entire beef system here in British Columbia.